Welcome back. You're still watching Fut-Afrique, where we're having conversations about African football. Let's talk now about the 21st edition of the CAF Confederation Cup, a competition that is the second tier from the CAF Champions League. Back in the day, it used to be a thing of you don't qualify for the CAF Champions League group stages, you will then filter down to the CAF Confederation Cup. Unfortunately, for teams like Orlando Pirates, that is not the situation this year, Brian.
And I think that was the happiest I've ever seen in studio was the day when they scrapped that rule, because you were like, finally, there are no second chances for you. You lose, you are out.
Yes, it's not fair.
Yeah.
Now you want to go bully the smaller ones. No, it doesn't work like that. CAF Confederation Cup 21st edition, SuperSport United as well as Kukune United from South Africa booked their spot in the final 16. What a run for SuperSport.
SuperSport United, they're having a changing season in South Africa when they look at the league, and also knocked out on cup competitions already. But they've done the job in this competition. I mean, they probably, one will say, probably got revenge for the Buccaneers because they defeated a team from Botswana, Gaborone United, where they eventually won their tie over two-leg SuperSport United for them to book their place in the group stages. They played a 1-1 draw, then won 3-0. So 4-1 aggregate scoreline is how they managed to get through into the next round. But the debutants, I did say this Kukune United probably needs to call Maru more gallant and say, hey, by the way,
what did you guys do?
Play against St. Eloi Limpopo? Yeah, they got the memo.
They probably
did the job.
That call definitely did go through.
Yeah.
They got the formula and they executed it well. Kukune United as well as SuperSport United making their spot in the final 16, representing South Africa. I love it. So Orlando Pirates is the only team from South Africa that didn't make it.
I'm
not
going to get involved in that conversation because the Buccaneers will be saying, Bakadile. So I'm not going to get involved in that one.
Let's talk about Zamalek. Zamalek started off very cagey. I didn't know that they had, I did know that they have it within them to come back. I just didn't know that they do it like this.
Listen, I mean, we spoke about it last week and said that is Arto Sola have just put themselves on a map on a continent. A team from Djibouti managed to win by 2 goals still like in Zamalek. A big upset. We were thinking about the second leg, saying, will Zamalek come back? One of the teams that actually won the Champions League 5 times, Zamalek, from Egypt. And they came back and did it in style to eventually advance to the next round. But another game that we were all thinking about, E2, was that one between RS Berkane, to say they were the former champions.
Yes.
USM Alger, another team that just been the champions recently. Were they going to do an RS Berkane on us, get knocked out early after playing a draw against FAS Rabat? 1-0 the score was. Needed a goalless draw for them to advance to the next round. And oh boy, they had to sweat blood and tears for the 90 minutes for them to book their place in the group stages.
And that is not always the best way to do it, right? When covering competitions, I think you will know, when talking to teams that are the reigning champions, it's actually a blessing and a curse to be the reigning champions, because everyone has their sights set on you and you are the team to beat.
It is that. I mean, last year, remember, RS Berkane lost out because they were the defending champions, unable to defend their title, knocked out very early. Now, this time around, I thought you might just have another similar situation because FAS Rabat is not a very easy team to play.
Yeah.
So when USM Alger found himself in a draw, and I still thought, maybe they want to be brought down to Mother Earth because they just won the CAF Confederations Cup, they just won the Super League. Probably still celebrating, haven't gotten over it. But they had to do the job, and they did it in the difficult way. But the good enough is that they managed to get themselves into the group stages and are still in line to defend their title.
The away goal rule, let's talk about that. I think people do understand it, but not everyone understands it. The away goal rule as to how it works, because we have teams like Stade Malien from Mali who also qualified because of the away goal rule. Explain to me that away goal rule. So you want to make sure that you score away from home because that has more value, correct?
It is indeed. So the more goals you score away when you're playing in a competition of this nature, it helps you going forward. So the prelim round, when you play in the prelim round, because you still have to play home and away, the group stage doesn't work for you in the group stages because then group stage is all about the tie-breaking rule. When you get to the knockout stage, it also works in the same way. So the fact that you score more goals away, it means that really counts for you. Even if you do lose a game at home, probably by 1 goal, and you score 2 away, then you still manage to advance into the next round.
Yeah. When it comes to that away goal rule, Brian, obviously, so if we are tied on a draw, I'm just creating a scenario here.
Yeah.
If we're tied on a draw in the first leg, second leg we're tied on a draw, we will still go into penalties?
if we are turning a draw with similar scoreline.
Yes.
You mean? If a similar scoreline, it's penalties. If it is not a similar scoreline, you'll see who scored more on the road.
Okay.
But if it's similar scoreline, we go straight to penalty. You've seen the two matches that actually went to penalties because of that rule that everything was tied when it came to the away goal rule. So eventually to find out who was going to advance to the next round, they had to via penalties.
When we look at the CAF Confederation Cup and the CAF Champions League, it's a lot of the usual suspects.
Yeah.
This is a bit worrying for me because it says that there's no progress within our African leagues. It's not as exciting. I mean, you look at the UEFA Champions League, Manchester United back in Champions League this year.
The difference why you see that happen is because certain teams that are playing regularly will find themselves allotted more spots. So, for an example, team from South Africa will get 2 spots, and team from the northern side, we're talking about team from the Moroccan side or the Egyptian side will get 2 slots. So they're always going to have more because some will play in the first round, some will play in the second round. But also, because of that, some countries pull out because of financial issues. You see, Marumo, Sukulu United, by the way, had to get a bye into the next round because the team that is supposed to play against pulled out. It is taxing financially. Hence, I'm saying that teams that are playing the AFL will be much better financially because if you're in the AFL, you get $4 million US. That's money you can use for all the other competitions as well.
Mm-hmm. The African Football League, still a debate on the African continent, but the CAF Champions League and CAF Confederation Cup still take center stage and still take preference within the associations on the African continent because those are the fixtures that are being prioritized as opposed to this new league that's being introduced. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we talk about the CASAFA Women's Championship. It's in Gauteng, South Africa. We want to know all about it. When did it start? How did it start? And how it's progressed.